Could marijuana legalization be the issue Democrats need to win the next election? Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. I'm also a lawyer and an academic, and I'm here to help you stand up to the BS of the MAGA crowd. So I've long been arguing that cannabis reform should be a priority among the Democrats. In fact, at the end of this video, I'll link to another video of mine that talked about this very issue some time ago. This issue has a lot of potential for Democrats because, of course, marijuana legalization has broad public support, but in particular, it has support among some of the white working class voters who've abandoned the Democratic Party in droves. In effect, by advocating marijuana legalization, that could be an issue that Democrats use as what we call a wedge issue, where we can kind of peel away some of the Republicans who might otherwise have voted for their candidates based upon any number of issues, and who, based upon their demographics, would be expected to vote for the Republicans. But because of the Democrats' stance on this issue, especially relative to the Republicans, we might be able to draw some of them over to our sides. And as we know, with the closeness in many of these elections, just picking off a few voters could make the difference. Well, today I saw an especially eye-opening article talking about how Biden's approval rating has plunged with young people more than with any other group, especially among independents. This is an issue where President Biden can certainly be appealing to young people. Frankly, outside of student loan forgiveness, which is another issue President Biden should support, I can't think of any other issue that probably would be as motivating to young people as cannabis reform. Truthfully, most young people really have a hard time understanding why it's still illegal. Well, we had a recent vote in the House that just showed how divided the two parties are on this issue. By a vote of 220 to 204, largely along party lines, Democrats passed legislation that would decriminalize marijuana in the United States. Now, as we know, this bill goes on to the Senate, and who knows what's going to happen there. But it just clearly showed the contrast between the two parties on this issue. One especially interesting data point that I saw in this, by the way, is that there are 3 Republicans who voted with the Democrats on this issue. One of them was Matt Gaetz. Now, this MAGA congressman from Florida is well known for any number of reasons. I mean, he's a prominent member of the child sex trafficking caucus among Republicans. But he has also shown himself to be surprisingly in tune with the white working class voters who've been so critical to helping put Donald Trump into office. He's also a relatively young member of Congress. And I think that combination shows just how potent an issue this is. The fact that he recognized that this is one issue, one of the few issues where he should buck his congressional leadership and vote with the Democrats, just shows that he realizes that among those two groups, in particular, again, the white working class that Republicans have so come to rely upon, and young people, just how potent an issue this is with them. Meanwhile, the states, most of them led by Democrats, tend to continue with their efforts to legalize marijuana. The latest such effort is in New Jersey, where you've got a very progressive Democratic governor and a Democratic legislature, and starting next Thursday, marijuana sales will be completely legal there. Now, the issue, as you know, though, is even as states decriminalize marijuana, it is still illegal at the federal level. Now, the position that the federal government has taken under Democratic presidents, such as President Obama and President Biden, is that they would not prosecute people for marijuana crimes in states that have made marijuana legal. Now, this is in contrast, by the way, with the Trump administration, where then Attorney General Jeff Sessions was quite clear about the fact that he intended to continue to prosecute marijuana violations at the federal level. So these developments just make it very clear that Democrats need to highlight this issue to help us drive a wedge into the white working class voters who've been so supportive of Republicans in the past, and to help us re-energize some of the young voters who've been abandoning us. We need to make it clear that if we give the Democrats just a little bit more leeway in both the Senate and in the House, that it will position us well to finally address this issue, along with many others, such as voting rights reform and the other elements of the Build Back Better bill that have been stalled as a result of the intransigence of just a couple of Democratic U.S. senators. Well, why don't you check out this other video that I did some time ago talking about how powerful an issue cannabis reform could be for the Democrats. Our failure to trumpet this issue really points to the strategic errors that our side has made and really that we need to overcome if we're going to survive in this next election. I'll see you then. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.